Welcome to the Miranda podcast. This is a podcast for 50 plus women who would like to look 10 years younger and also feel 10 years younger. So I'm Miranda and this is Raye, and this is episode 1 of the Miranda podcast. Did I say that
Woohoo!
twice? Who cares? So this first episode is about facial cupping, and Raye is going to attempt to convince me that I should facial cup. And to be honest, I have absolutely no knowledge of facial cupping, so I'm going to hand straight over to Raye, who is going to tell us all about it. And at the end, I will let you know whether or not you've convinced me. Okay, over
Excellent.
to you.
Fantastic. So excited to be here. So I am Rachel Jones and I work as a holistic physiotherapist. And I do reflexology, feet and face, and I'm a yoga and Pilates teacher. And I'm interested in all things wellness. So I started off with cupping on the body. Because I was also a sports massage therapist as well at one point. But I still use cupping a lot with my patients on an everyday basis. And I did the course on facial cupping with facial reflexology. And it was absolutely fascinating for many, many, many reasons. So the health benefits for facial cupping, not just the beauty benefits, are it's really, really good for helping with headaches, migraines, jaw pain, teeth grinding. It's really, really good for sinus pain. It's really good for helping with any facial scars, but you want to make sure that the scar is probably a good 6 weeks to 3 months old before you start working on it. And you also want to sort of see what type of scar it is as well. It's really good as well for facial paralysis and Bell's palsy, which is whenever one side of the face becomes paralyzed. And if you ever see anyone with that, it's just life changing to be able to help something like that. And it's also really good for earache. It's really good for hay fever and congestion in the face. So those would be the general health benefits. The other thing that I would say is, because we're going to be working on the facial reflex points, you're also going to be getting a whole body treatment whenever you do it. And you're also going to be working on your thoughts, so the mental aspect of yourself, the emotional aspect of yourself, as well as the physical aspect of yourself. Um, when we come to look at the beauty side of things, which is just a really, really nice little sort of side effect, is you're going to be working on those fine lines. So you're going to be helping to boost the production of collagen and elastin. And we know as we get older that all tends to start to slow down, really. So we're going to be firming and toning the skin and the musculature underneath. So we're going to be getting a nice lifting, toning, plumping effect. It's also going to help reduce puffiness in the face, so puffiness around the jaw, puffiness around the eyes, any sort of swelling around here, because we're going to be boosting the lymphatic system. And Miranda, you would agree that a healthy lymphatic system is life.
Don't get me started, because we're going
Don't
to talk
get you
about
started, because
brown
we'll never get off
pets.
it. So we're going to be detoxing. We're going to be helping to remove excess fluid. We're going to be releasing toxins and flushing those out, and helping with any puffiness and swelling. We're going to also be increasing the blood circulation. So we're going to be getting more oxygenated blood in and around these facial tissues. And we're going to be helping just to loosen the layers that have maybe got a little bit stuck, where you can maybe also sort of see where, especially in older skin, where whenever people smile, things are maybe sort of not moving quite as easily. And you tend to get more pigmentation in those areas. And by helping just to release those layers and getting them sliding and gliding, you help to improve that pigmentation, which is absolutely fantastic. So you're going to be helping lift and contour the face. You can also change the shape of the face quite significantly. And it's also quite nice to do like a little sort of 3-week facial cupping challenge, just to see who notices and if you notice as well. So we're going to be helping just to make those muscles an awful lot more healthy. And we know that muscles give you the shape in your body and also in your face. We're going to be helping to soften frown lines. And also, because we're working on mind, body, spirit, we've got these little 11s up here, and then we've got these lovely little wrinkles up here. Whenever you work on these with the cups, you're working on reflexology points as well. So you're also going to be helping to release the patterns that are maybe causing you to frown, and helping just to relax your body, so maybe you don't feel the need to frown quite so much. So that old phrase, the resting bitch face, might actually start to look a little bit nicer. Your face might settle into a slightly nicer, a nicer shape, and you know, not be quite so off-putting to those around you. The other thing that's really lovely is, as we get older, our lips get thinner. Okay, and we also get these little fine lines here, especially if people smoke or you're a lip person. So you can soften, but you can also plump and you can also lift. It's absolutely fantastic. And these lovely lines here, the marionette lines, I think they're called, and they're quite sort of
Or the nasolabial.
yeah, yeah. I think that
That's
yeah.
marionette.
Are those a marionette? Those are the marionette ones down there. Yes, sorry, you're right. If we can help lose these trenches here and lose these trenches here, it just softens your face. And you know, these are all the signs of age, aren't they? Whenever you can sort of lift up and get that lovely sort of fullness up here, that makes you look younger. So we don't have the we have the inverted triangle as opposed to the triangle of age. Yeah, so I think that those would be the things that I would say that you know, cupping does. But I also find that I would tend to cup in bed at night before I go to sleep, and it helps me get a much better night's sleep. You know, just pop a bit of oil on, do some breathing, get the lymphatic pump working, work through my cupping, and it just, so I'm not looking at my screen. I'm not having any blue light, and it's just a really nice way to kind of fade me into a good night's sleep.
Yeah, because it makes your face go red. Because the reason I was laughing,
Yeah.
I remembered that picture you sent me.
Yes.
So we're going to put that on this podcast.
Yes.
The picture is a picture of you with your cup stuck on
I
your
know my
forehead.
unicorn cup.
I just remembered it. But I
Is that
remember
the
your
one I
face.
sent you whenever I was in the
Yeah,
bath and I had a really red face and my hair was up? I think I sent you a few of my
it was like,
unicorn.
there was a really funny caption on it. I can't remember, but I'm going to scroll back through. God, it'll take forever to
So
find it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So also I would be
face go
inclined to have
red.
quite high color. And so I wouldn't do cupping before I go out. Now
So
some people do
different.
cup just to help plump and lift. But I think that it's like anything, try it once or twice, see what your response is. If you're going to be somebody who has quite a lot of redness like myself, it's not a good idea to do it just before you go out. And also, obviously, we want to talk about contraindications and potential risks with cupping because it's not going to kill you, but what you've got to be aware of is that incorrect technique can, it's not going to necessarily damage your skin, but if you go over an area for too long, or you leave the cup on for too long, and you have quite a lot of congestion, or you have had maybe some damage there, or the muscles are very tight, you can leave yourself quite a red mark that will last. It's not that you have damaged the capillaries and caused a bruise, but it certainly from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, they would be talking about you're pulling heat, you're pulling stagnation out, which in my opinion is great. You want to get that out of your system, but you don't necessarily want to get it out of your system on a Saturday night before you're about to go to the ball. And so as a therapist, I would tend to back off, not go over an area quite so much until I know the person. But if I was working on your back, for instance, and you weren't going to be wearing the backless dress or doing your modeling, then I would say don't worry too much about this, you know, these red cut marks, because they will dissipate and they will go. And we've got that heat and that tension and that problem out of your back. So the other thing that you want to be aware of with, and this is a whistle stop tour, is you don't want to go over any skin infections. So if you have got cold sore, do not cup over a cold sore, because you're going to make it an awful lot worse. Do not cup over moles. Do not cup over active tumor sites or any undiagnosed lumps, bumps, or marks or bruises. Do not cup over a bruise. What else would we know? Yeah, do not cup over acne. Don't cup over blackheads or whiteheads. You know, just don't do it. It's you don't want to be causing any more problems there. If you have broken capillaries, you know the way you see in some people when they're older, don't cup over that either. There's other things that you can do. If there's any marks on your face that you're not quite sure about or have changed, then you must go and see your doctor about that. Don't do cupping over psoriasis or eczema. That's not going to help either. Any areas of cellulitis or inflammatory skin conditions, you want to avoid all of those. Any recent surgeries, avoid that. If you have scars, yes, cupping is really, really good, but only after a certain amount of time. And you want to make sure things like keloid scars, you're not going to want to necessarily cup over. Don't You want to make sure that you put enough oil on so that you don't drag the skin. You don't want to be causing any overstretching or damaging there. And also, if you are older or you've got really sort of like thin, saggy, friable skin, you don't want to be cupping on that. We don't want any tears. If you've had Botox or filler, I would not cup over filler because it can migrate. And you certainly do not want to be cupping over filler or Botox for about 3 weeks after you've had it. And the thing about Botox is, when you've paid that money to have Botox, you don't want you've got to let your client know that when you cup over Botox, you are going to be stimulating the muscles and you're going to be stimulating the circulation. So their Botox is not going to last quite so long. But if you want a much more natural, cheaper way and healthier way of plumping and lifting, cupping's the way to go. Because it's not introducing anything into your skin. What it will do, though, it will help make any products that you use in your skin be absorbed much more easily because you're increasing the circulation, which gives you that lovely glow. Yeah, so if there's an area that has loss of sensation, so if you're diabetic, I'd avoid that because it's always good for people to have feedback. For instance, on this side of my face, which would probably be the side that if I was going to clench, I would clench. It's always a little bit more tender around here on me. And I need to know that because I need to know if I want to work there a little bit more or if I need to do a little bit of massage. So loss of sensation you have to be aware of as well. Do not cup over the eyes. It's not going to happen, but just don't do it. Any areas of dermaplaning or tattooing, don't cup over them until everything's settled down. Okay, because it's just common sense, isn't it? And if you've got any autoimmune conditions like lupus or anything like that, you've got to be aware of cupping because you don't know how they're going to respond. And so I always say for the first session, whenever you're doing something like this, you just want to do a little bit, see how the client responds, and then the next time you kind of have a bit of a better baseline of what you can and can't do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the things that I like to have. So I always have my hair back. So I'm going to put my hair back in a second. And I also, so the oil I'm going to use tonight is a really nice calming facial oil. My skin's fairly robust. And I got some really nice oil off Amazon. It's a Sanctuary one, so that's quite good. But you want to find an oil that's good for your skin. So if you have any skin stuff in particular, you have to be quite careful. Choose an oil that's right for you. And you're going to want to have a large cup and a small cup. Now, I got these off Amazon, which I think this is what I'm sending you, Miranda. Okay, so you've got one that does around the lips and around the eyes, not on the eyes, and then this one. This is my unicorn. I'll have to do it before I finish. And that does more around your face, your neck, and your décolletage. If you want to be a bit fancy, you can get a jade roller. These are really, really popular now. And they're quite nice just to sort of help roll everything out afterwards. But if I'm working with patients, I have got a couple of little lovely rose quartz mushrooms, and I have those in a little bowl of icy water. Because if something does go a little bit red, I can soothe that out, but I can also use these to help sort of flush through as well. So these are quite nice. You can get them off eBay. We don't have to be too fancy. Okay, so let me just pop my hair up. You don't want to be wearing any necklaces because we're going to do a little bit of lymphatic flushing around here. So I'll just get rid of that. And you also don't want to be wearing a polo neck. Okay, we want to have the aerial, which is why I'm wearing this top tonight, Miranda, which I normally wouldn't if I don't normally get the girls out. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off. So I normally wear a bandeau, but I couldn't find it. I think it's already packed away for with my summer stuff. Okay, so we've washed the face, we've taken off all products, and we've got the hair back, so it's out of the way. And you can also just keep applying your oil. So I go across the collarbone. I go across. So this is going to be where we're going to be doing a little bit of cupping just to get the lymphatic system working a little bit more. And then this is where we sort of think about the thymus area. And that's quite nice to do as well, because that's going to help with our circulation. And then these muscles here, the sternocleidomastoids, or SCM muscles, they're really, really important for releasing around the jaw. They hold an awful lot of tension. So we use these as well just to release tension here, which is a nice little side effect, but also just to stop too much pressure in around the lymphatic system. And then oiling around your face. And obviously if it's too much, then you can, I just stick a bit on my arms really, because whenever you're using the cup, you don't want the cup to scoot out of your hands. Okay, so anywhere else it needs a little bit of oiling. And we start off with, there's two types of cupping, and one is flash cupping and one is dynamic. Flash, I think, should be dynamic because it sounds like it's doing something. But it's basically just where you put it on and you leave it for 1,000, 1,000, take it off. Okay, so don't pull it off. You squeeze it to go on, and then it goes on, and then you squeeze it to take it off, so we're not causing any dragging. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 here, 3 here, this spot here, and then I'm going to do the dynamic cupping up here. Okay, so we start off 1,000, 2, 1,000, squeeze to let go. 1,000, 2, 1,000, squeeze to let go. 1,000, 2, 1,000, squeeze to let go. So obviously, as I'm turning my head here, I'll put my face straight on again, and we let go. And then I do the other side. 1,000, 2, 1,000. And if I can't get any purchase with the big one, then I'll go to the little one, because sometimes if you've got so much tension, the big one can't, and it just makes that lovely farty noise, doesn't it, whenever it doesn't get it. So great time to, and I just use the little one on and take it off. The little one on, I would just do a couple more around that area, because this would be my dominant side and I'd always be a little bit tighter. So we can do that 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 3 times, 1, 2, 3, 3 times. And then I would stick it in the middle, 1,000, 2, 1,000, release. And I do that 3 times. And that's just, and I can feel my sinuses starting to drain already. It's quite amazing. Okay, so collarbone, we squeeze it on and then we drag it along and then we squeeze it off. We get some really interesting noises. And we do the same on that side. And you can probably see there's a little bit of redness coming along there. Okay, so this has got the lymphatic system stimulated, so it's ready now to help flush things out. So then we go to the chin. 1,000, 2, 1,000. And we just go, and we just keep going along until we get all the way. And what this is actually doing is the, you know, we can get a little bit sort of puffy and jowly here. So the tissue gets stuck and then it can't slide or glide. So what we're doing with the cups is we're creating a negative pressure, and then we get slide and glide. And when we get slide and glide and we get more space, we get that lymphatic system flowing through. And within the myofascial system, things get less sticky and get more fluidy, which is youth as well. Okay, so we go to the other side. And the thing is, you get very, very good at just, you know, I mean, I am taking it off, but I've got so used to just, without, you know, taking it away from the skin, moving it on to the next bit. Now, if you have any TMJ stuff, which is temporomandibular joint problems, or any jaw stuff, it's quite nice just to spend a little bit of time around here and at the top of the sternocleidomastoid, but I'm getting a little bit too physio. So we've done 1,000, 2, 1,000 until we get to there. Then we go on to the chin and we do the same. So we're going to do a line here, and then we're going to do a line here. And then we want to start coming up into the lifting. Okay, so 1,000, 2, 1,000. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. And if you've got quite a lot of tightness there, then you'll go for the smaller cup. And I can definitely feel there's a little bit more tenderness around there on that side. It doesn't concern me. For me, I just note it. I think also the first few times that you do it, make sure that you do it in front of a mirror and just be clear. Okay, so now I'm thinking I want to go up here and up here And depending on how big your face is will be dependent on how. And if you think about this area here, we don't want that big trench. So we kind of want to be quite particular. It's attractive, isn't it? Okay, it just feels a little bit more like the tissue's been squeezed. Do you remember whenever you were, well, I don't know, you had sisters, I had 3 brothers. But whenever you would do that skin twist, where you would just do that in somebody's wrist, and it just can feel a little bit like that. So I'm releasing, moving up, releasing, moving up, releasing, moving up. I am avoiding this. That skin is really fine, okay? And then I'm going to go from the corner of the mouth. If you go too close to the mouth, you will not get suction because there's going to be this split where the lips are. And it's around this area here that I can feel that tension in my jaw. Okay, and then we do the same on the other side. So we're thinking about this area here. We're coming up here. And it's so lovely because if you, we're not talking about the reflexology points, but we're working through quite a lot of the organs. And we're just helping just to stimulate and soothe those as well, which is really, really nice. And then that's why I like doing it before bed, because then I allow my body to actually have good sleep and heal.
And you do it every night?
No, but I started doing it again recently, and I kind of been doing it a couple of times a week, and I've definitely noticed that my skin looks healthier. And it just feels really nice. It feels like a little bit of self-care that I'm looking at myself, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense because it's getting blood, isn't it? Blood and
Yeah.
oxygen into the skin
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
underneath.
So we've done all of that. Then
That was the photo
yeah.
that suddenly popped into my head.
Yeah. So what you tend to find if you are really, really tight here, you're going to want to use the small cup. And sometimes I just can't get, and if you can't get any purchase, you then just need to put a little bit more oil on, because sometimes it's just because you don't have enough oil. And you don't feel like you've got an awful lot going on with these because they're just so fine. But that's just enough just to start pulling the layers apart a little bit. And then it allows me to go in. And even as long as you just feel that you're getting some suction. And obviously, if you're very short here and you're really narrow here, you might not get much. So you can really sort of squeeze the cup. And I just feel that that's just taking, there's a little bit of suction through that, and that's absolutely fine. So the other thing, I don't know if you've noticed, but I notice on a lot of people is, as we get older, we start to lose the hair here. And I think a lot of it is in our eyebrows, we're furrowing. So we are creating pressure in around the hair follicles. And then that area dies, or it's not getting any circulation. And then we start to lose the hair there. And you can see that that does make people, it does age people, doesn't it? Why do people get their eyebrows tattooed on? And this will help to stimulate the circulation and then help to soften the trenches so that the circulation can get in around his hair follicles. So maybe we'll not lose quite so much of our, that's my plan anyway. And so I just do the suction the whole way up until I get to the widow's peak. And this is the spine in facial reflexology. And so you're giving your spine a really nice soothing massage here as well. And then I will come across here. So I'll come over the top of my eyebrows. And this is also another lymphatic area, an area where we can have sinus congestion. And it's certainly, if you've ever had any sort of inflamed sinuses or infected sinuses and you bend over, you get that discomfort up around there, don't you? So this is quite nice just to help to release. And I promise you, I'm not just sliding along, I am actually taking them off. And then I go to the other side. And we were always encouraged to use 2 hands, but obviously if you're really dominant with one hand, you're just going to tend to use that. And we can come down as far as the temples, but if you're tight there, you'll just feel a gentle pulling and not like an actual deep suction. And then we're going to come across and come across. Okay, so that is flash cupping on the forehead. Then we can do dynamic cupping on the forehead, and we can do dynamic cupping on here. And we're just going to try and soften these lines here. And so you can come across, release, come across, release, come across, release, come across. You can also go up. And you can just see my hooded eyes are being lifted, which is really lovely. And it does make a difference afterwards. Okay, so if I'm going to do flash cupping here, I'll start at the chin and I'll drag up and release there. And up, and up, and up. And if you find that you're not getting a nice dynamic flow, it might just be that you're a little bit tight and you want to stick to just doing the 1 1000, 2 1000. Okay, bum bit. Let's put the oil on the lips, and you're going to go for the small cup. And you're going to go on the outside and just feel that lip being sucked in, that lip being sucked in, that lip being sucked in, that lip being sucked in. Now, the lips are the small intestine in the facial reflexology. And I just go backwards and forwards. And depending on how much tension you've got will depend on how much we're pulling. And then obviously go along the edges of the lips. And that's really, really nice. And then I tend to do a little bit of dynamic all the way around. This will really help stimulate your collagen, so you will get a slightly plumper lip. But also make sure that you do the fine lines around there, because all of that is really, really nice just to open up, soften, get the circulation. And then you can do the same all the way down at the bottom. And because this feels that it's hard to get purchase on my lips, I'm kind of just sort of sucking and going along and hoping to get something. And then along like that. Now with the eyes, got the oil on, and I'm going to start underneath the eyebrow, and I'm just going to go up underneath the eyebrow. And I'm not even going to leave it on for 2000, so it's just going to go on for 1 1000. And I would certainly say for the first couple of times that you do this, just stick to the brow bone. And then you can come just as the brow bone curves under, you're not going to come into the overhang, but you can kind of come into sort of like that angle of it. That angle of it, not. And we can also do dynamic cupping. So we can, and you can see how that is actually lifting. Okay, so we can do the same on the other side. Does that make sense?
It does. I so much more than I thought it was. Honestly, I mean, I'm really into that sort of like pressure points and reflexology and ancient Chinese.
Yeah.
All meridians and whatnot. So if it's going to do that as well as make my skin look younger,
Yeah.
and it's going to tick the self-care box, and it's going to help me sleep better,
Yeah.
I think I can safely say I am definitely going to try it.
And you're going to look like a unicorn.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to send you the picture of that, obviously. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm going to do my jowls.
And you know, whenever people have Botox and they have the little crow's feet done, you can also, on the edge of that orbital, the orbital ridge, is that the orbital ridge?
Yep.
And then you can come along as well. And that really helps. So I generally would get a little bit more puffiness here than on this side. And I think it's because I would clench a little bit there if I'm stressed, and that's a bit tighter. So if I do that, it really just helps to stimulate and flush out that area there. And then you can do the same on the other side. So squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. And then you can also do the dynamic. And do the dynamic. I'm not sure if you can see that.
And this will all be in the PDF.
Yeah, this will be in the PDF.
They'll have the diagrams of the directions and the routine that you've just done. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And I can do a little video because nobody wants to spend 20 minutes with this. They want to do a quick 5 minutes.
Yes.
So once you've done that, then we're still going to keep thinking about coming up. And I always finish with my thumbs pushing up. And this is just a little bit of skin rolling, and it just helps just to get that slide and glide, because we've separated the layers. Let's actually get them sliding and gliding before we finish. And certainly you can do a little bit coming up. Now, a lovely little technique, raindrop fingers. It's great for stimulating the lymphatic system. Feels really, really nice. Very, very simple. It's always good to do a little bit around the eyes. Something I learned whenever I was doing my Indian head training was stimulating around there, because whenever you look at lovely, fresh, toned eyes, lifted eyes, you just look younger, don't you? Okay, and that is that little bit of an oil slick, but that's absolutely fine. Something that's lovely, which I've just learned recently, is that dragging, gravity's taking us down. A lot of that can be because we're getting a little bit tight through here. So actually just massaging up the way through here releases a lot of that myofascial pull. And because whenever we work, we're like, well, we're not like Tyrannosaurus Rexes, but we're the pull is coming down like down in that direction. So also just helping just to open that up. Good posture is makes you look a lot younger, and you prepare for the world, don't you? You got any questions?
No, I just do equipment. So you're going to need some lovely oil.
So you need some oil. So a good wash of the face, hair back.
Oil, and then 2 size cups.
Yeah. So for the really sort of stuck areas, and for the eyes and for the lips.
Got it.
All right. And then this is for the big brow area, the cheeks, the chin, the throat. Yeah.
And you'd be aiming to do it a couple of times a week at bedtime.
Oh, yeah. It's lovely to spend 5 minutes. And the thing about it is if you do it a little bit more regularly, you don't have to do quite so much.
Yeah.
And it's great for neck pain. It's lovely for, if you think, oh, my neck's a little bit tight, it's really, really good for that.
So you could do it around the back of the neck, because that's where
Yes.
And
so the cups that I've got
for those.
I will use these cups on my patients, and I'll do the scalings, I'll do the sternocleidomastoid, and I will come up and do, if the traps are really, really tight, I'll also use these as well. But you can also just get bigger cups. But you can't. You want to have a little bit of direction with what you're doing around there, and also especially there are some meridian points around there that if you are pregnant you should not be working on. So that'll be another podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think these practical demonstrations are really, really, really useful, because so to be honest, I wouldn't even know where to start, but now I know exactly where to start. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody wants the PDF, which is going to have all of the directions and order of which you've got to do it, and also some suggestions for the products, they just have to email me at Miranda, Miranda, at fullonflow, fullonflow.com, and I will send you Raye's PDF. If you have any questions, also just email, and I'll pass them on to Raye, and she will respond to you personally.
Yeah.
So thank you, Raye. And I'm definitely going to give it a go, and I will.
Well, I'll send you. These will be winding their way to you. You just need to get yourself some oil that's nice for you.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a little one where we do it together.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, because the other thing is, like, there's hay fever and sinusitis protocols. There's TMJ protocols. There's also some protocols for kids who are going through exam stress. As a mom, you can do.
We're only interested in looking 10 years younger.
We only want to look 10 years younger.
And sleeper.
Or look like a unicorn.
Absolutely, that's just going to be hilarious. I can't wait to just. That's all I'm going to do with it. I'm just going to stick it on there.
Don't leave it on too long, because you'll look like somebody leaving you away.
Oh my God! Yeah, try explaining that.
What do they call it? A hickey on your forehead.
Oh my God! Just don't go there. All right, I'll get when I've not got to see anyone for 2 days.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you, fabulous. And that's our first episode.
One thing, if you do overdo it, Miranda, and you would have a little bit of red in your hair, So you might find that you go a little bit redder than the average person is. If you find that, just do a couple of passes, and if it's redness that's not settling, if you get a teaspoon and just dip it in icy water, and then the back of the teaspoon, the circular bit, just tap the area, and you can also put arnica cream on it. But I always think just to err on the side of caution for the first couple of times that you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll just, yeah,
Perfect.
hide.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
All
See
right.
you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, love.